Welcome to Women's Wealth, the podcast with me, Joanne. My mission is to educate, inspire, and empower you all to step into your own life of wealth. That feeling of being so rich in your mind, body, and soul. I'm so happy to have you here. Let's get straight into it. Hello, wealthy women. Welcome to another episode of Women's Wealth, the podcast with me, Joanne. And today I have an amazing guest, and I'm just going to give a little bit of background before I pass over to my guest. So we only met briefly, and this guest attended one of my oils workshops. And obviously we went through the workshop, and at the end, we naturally always end up chatting. And she started to share her story. And as I was listening, I was just like, oh my God, I need to get this woman onto my podcast. So here she is. So I'm going to let her tell her story. So I have Sheyla, and she is a wellness influencer. And I'm so happy for you to be here, happy for you to share your story, because I was inspired in that brief moment at our workshop. So yeah, over to you.
Yes, my name is Sheyla Nascimento. I am from Brazil. I am very happy also to have connected with you. And I'm very happy also to share my story with all your followers here.
Yeah, thank you. And I think, sometimes it takes these small little events when you're able to, I always believe you meet people for a reason. And I'm guessing this was our reason. You came to my workshop, you already had a wealth of knowledge. I think your reason to be there was obviously to listen to the workshop, but also to come and share your story. So share a little bit with my listeners, just what you shared with me, and then we'll delve a little bit deeper. So a little bit of your story, a little bit of your background, and why you're here today.
Yes, I will share with you guys today my story about how I overcome cancer and depression and autoimmune diseases. Since the very beginning, my intuition showed me that I had to go through alternative therapies. I have always respected so much the conventional medicines, but I felt that I really needed to go for something deep, so I could find the root cause of the issue. Okay, so then I started to travel literally from Amazon to India to try and understand why it was happening to me. And I just realized that was the best thing that I ever did. Because when you look deeper into yourself and when you are able to kill all the questions mark, then you remain peace. So that was the way I started this journey, actually.
And did you start your wellness and health journey before your diagnosis, or did this all come after? Did you have an interest, or was this a result of your illness?
Yes, I always was a person that took a very kind of healthy approach when it comes to lifestyle. Okay. And then after this situation happened to me, so then of course I became more cautious and wise about it. So going to the jungle and spending time with the native people, okay, doing all the ceremonies, doing all the natural treatment, open up like a portal to show me where my heal was. So it was a beginning of a long journey. So I started going to India, and then I traveled to the route, actually, where some of these alternative therapies have originated in order to gain the self-knowledge. And for instance, like one of the therapies that helped me to overcome the situation was Ayurveda, you know.
Yeah.
And Ayurveda just started work on each of my cells. It was a very painful process of my life, because to bring all the negativities to the surface, it is very painful. It is very painful. I mean, like, you have to really put your heart, your mind into it in order to complete it, you know. And so I started with Ayurveda. I also did some spiritual work. Then yoga was a very important part of it, you know, the connection with the body, mind, and soul. Then I also went into Ayurveda nutrition, which it has a very different approach when it comes to food, you know. And I did also lately a chakra healing course to understand all these blockages, you know, that I have been carrying on with me, probably from other lives as well, I believe. So this kind of baggage, you know.
Yeah.
So what I think I literally have done, it's what you can call a inner engineering work from your mind, your body, and your soul. And it's like made me the person that I am today, actually.
And so what was your diagnosis? What was your first diagnosis, and when was that?
Yeah, on 2016, I found out that I had a tumor on my uterus. And the thing is, like, the uterus of a woman, it's like the second heart, you know. And it's very like depressing. I can use this word, I don't know if it's that right, when that happened, because it's like all your powerful energy as a woman, it's like sucked in, you know, like.
Yeah,
And
I understand.
yeah, so after that, I realized that, what am I gonna do now? You know, I knew, like, the chemical medicine, the allopathic, the conventional way was not going to help much. So that was the time I started traveling, you know. And I did not want to get any surgery done or anything. I was really weak at the time because I was losing so much blood. So
is that how you found out you were losing, like, more than a heavy period, was it? You were just bleeding a lot?
yeah, actually, literally, like, I used to lay down in bed for sleep. When I wake up in the morning, the full bed full of blood every single day. Like, you seeing like part of you running away from you, literally, you know.
Wow.
So that was very painful. And then I started becoming anemic and weak. Losing weight. I lost all my hair twice. So it was a very, very tough time. And then I remember I went to the jungle then for the first time. And then by doing this ritual, it was very clear to me that was the beginning of a very empowering story that I could share with other women, you know.
Yeah.
And the second one was, the second situation was the depression, which was really, really bad when you literally lose yourself, okay? So it was one thing after the other, literally. So when I thought I could overcome one thing, then something else showed up.
Imagine. It's a lot mentally, physically, emotionally, like snowballing. Yeah, I can really imagine that. And so you had your diagnosis and then you entered a world of depression, but you followed, I'm guessing it was a strong pull from your intuition. Now, what was the pull to the jungle? Because some people listening to this might think, God, you know, the jungle, especially if there's people living in the UK, it's, you know, hard to grasp. So what was it? What was pulling you there? And how did you trust yourself to listen?
The funny thing is, when I found out, okay, I had a cancer on my uterus, I started reading a lot about the plant medicine of the jungle. One, actually, it's a very famous where like a lot of people have been talking about, which is ayahuasca. Okay. Yeah. I was reading about it, but I did not know how to get that because that's not an easy thing to access. It is not easy information, you know. And then I started reading, and eventually I met someone in a restaurant that just approached me and said, "Oh, I just came back from Brazil." I say, "Okay, where were you? In Rio?" "No." And the person said, "I was in the Amazon jungle." I say, "Doing what in the Amazon?" And then, like he said, "Oh, I was doing some rituals and plant medicines and everything." So that was the time that clicked. So this person gave me the contact, and I remember like 1 week after I was there. Wow. Because I knew even before knowing, I had some intuition and some feeling that that was the beginning of my healing. You know, because this kind of medicine, like let's say ayahuasca or other thing that they provide inside of the jungle, it works as a tool, okay? It opens up your eyes and bring you to the direction you have to go to. So yes. I think that was a very important way of starting my healing journey. And then after that, a totally new universe was shown to me.
So it's not the medicine, the plant medicine itself that heals. It's the, I guess we could call them the side effects of taking the medicine, which is then healing and opens up this universe. What did you learn about yourself or your ancestors, or what was it that made you see that, right, this is what's happening and this is where I need to go?
It was shown actually very clear that all my lineage from women, okay, from my past, they were like all in chains. And the thing is, if I look back my lineage for women, all the women had issues with uterus. They always had some fibroid, or they had some cancer. A lot of them was sexually abused. So what I have learned was that I actually was the one that had to come here and break this genetic hereditary family cycle.
Yeah, you're the cycle breaker.
And of course, was not going to be easy. Who said it was going to be? So I think that's what, like, what also, all the pain comes from. But that was me. That was very clear. I was the one that had to finish with this slavery situation, with this kind of thing that kept going on for years and years.
Yeah.
So,
And is your mom and your grandmother, are they still with us?
my grandmother, no, but my mother, yes. And my mother have had the same issue as I had.
That's what I was going to ask. So it was, and how did your mom feel about you sort of taking this, or all the rest of your family? I'm just picking your mom because you mentioned the women in your family. But when you turned around to them and said, "Okay, I have this. However, I'm going to go this way to see what I can do about it." How did they feel? How did they act? Because I can imagine my mom would just be, oh, I don't know. I don't even know how I'd tell her. I'd have to do it in secret.
My mom, she always supported me a lot. And I think that was one of the things that gave me so much strength to keep on going. The rest of the women in my family, like aunties, cousins, they thought I was a little bit crazy. Why are you doing this? Are you mad? So, but I think from the person that I need support the most, I had it. And yes, she would not do it, but she always supported.
Yeah, good. That's yes. So and your mom, she went through Western treatment for her cancer.
Yes, she went through the conventional way of treatment. Yes. So,
and that's not it, is it? So you had your first diagnosis, you had the world of depression, and then what happened?
So the depression part was a very, what you can call, you experience the dark side of the soul, literally. I mean, like literally. But there is such a positive thing about it, because when you go down, when you go deep down, like you also can come up. And when you come up, if you put your heart into it, if you are willing to do the right thing, if you are disciplined, you overcome it. And when you overcome it, you become stronger.
Imagine, and your energy is very, very strong, very powerful. I felt that when we met each other, because and I think I can't remember, there's a saying that is literally you can only go back up once you're down here, and there's only so far down that you can go, so the only way is up.
Exactly.
And what was it that was your depression triggered by the cancer diagnosis, or was that already something that was rooted within you? So were you already anxious before, or were you, was it a whole snowball, or was it just brewing underneath and the cancer sort of allowed the depression to grow? How do you think that
I think
manifested?
The depression situation, I think, again, also was on the family lineage, okay?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people in my family has depression, so most likely I was going to have also. And of course, because I had the cancer, so it was just a trigger, and that was just a trigger. And again, the natural medicines from the jungle helped me to completely heal the depression, okay? Because when you are depressed and you get better, if you don't heal it properly, you always feel that situation is coming back to you. Like, every hiccup that you might have, you feel that it's going to attack you, And then thank God I don't feel that anymore. Of course, I always do like my daily basis, like work in order to keep on going and improving myself. But there was a medicine as well, another plant medicine called iboga. Okay, and the iboga is from ibogaine, which is from Africa as well, and it's a very, very, very strong, like nothing compared to any other plant medicine. But I have done a ritual of iboga, and I feel together with the other things, you know, like I've done therapies, I have done different alternative therapies, together with other things, I think that was the one that really, like, say, now you are 100% healed. So
And what does that do? So does that put you in this, just you connect to your higher self, another dimension, or how do you think that helped you?
yeah, iboga, okay, it's a treatment for addiction mainly.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say depression is repetitive thoughts, negative thoughts going on in your mind all the time. It is an addiction of the mind. And it's also used for people that has addiction with drugs, different kind of drugs, okay? So mainly, first, it's not for everyone. You cannot do this at random. You have to do blood tests, you have to do heart tests. It's quite serious thing, okay? But like, it's 3 days ritual. First day you take 18 doses. Second day you take 40 doses, and 30 day you take 18 doses again. Okay, so you have to do the 3 days. The feeling is a reborn feeling. Like I felt that I literally died and I needed to die. I needed to die for a new me to reborn. Okay. It's very tough, honestly speaking, like but like even when I went to do it, my family asked, are you crazy? Are you going to do it? I say, what do I have to lose? I am already dead. It's only my body here. I don't feel my soul. I feel my soul very distant from me. So I don't have anything to lose. Yes, I will do it. And honestly speaking, was the best decision that I ever made, because being physically ill, it's very hard, but being mentally ill, it's like no word to actually to describe. No matter what you have, if you have money, friends, nothing makes you happy. Nothing makes sense, you know? So it was very powerful and like empowering, and I'm glad to have done it actually.
Yeah, and I just think even just what you've just said, it's allowing us, you know, what first of all, what have you got to lose? And I think that's a question that for anything in our life, sometimes we restrict ourselves. No, I can't do that. You know, what will people think of me? I can't say that, or I can't post that, even for trivial things. Just asking yourself, like, what have I got to lose? Because a lot of the time, there's nothing that we're going to lose. We're only going to gain. So in your case, huge gain. And letting that part of you die. And again, whether it's a mental illness, anxiety, depression, and for someone, I used to suffer with anxiety, and that just sums it up really well. I had to let that version of me die to become this version. But for a long time, you're kind of holding on to I don't know, you know the scene in the Titanic, and she's holding on to him on the boat, and you have to let them go. You have to let that version of you go. So whether it's mental, physical, emotional, you're never going to grow into the person you're meant to be if you're still holding on to Jack on the, the Titanic reference. But yeah, but yeah, I love that. And just when you said that, I was like, wow, that's literally what I did as well, but in a different way, without the plants, just understanding that I can't live like her anymore. I need to let her die because it's not healthy.
Exactly.
Or,
And I think the worst thing in life is when death comes to you and finds you already dead.
Mm.
Like, so what's the meaning of life? What are you doing here, right? You're just passing your time. You're just surviving, you know? And then in 2021, I found out I had cancer in my stomach. And that was a little bit dreadful because the doctors told me not much you can do about it. I give you another maybe 6 or 8 months. And the thing for me was always, I always found out the issue when it was like, let's say at last minute.
Yeah.
Even though I used to go to the doctors and good doctors and everything and watch out, like it only showed up when, you know, last minute. So I always felt on the edge. It's our time now. It's our time now. And I always felt also that fighting so much to be here on this world, you know. And then that was the time I started spending a lot of time in India and be together with gurus and try to learn about self-knowledge, you know, because when we know more about ourselves, we break down our ignorances, and that helps you to see clear, you know. And then I started doing spending time on the Ayurveda hospitals, you know, and doing the treatments along with yoga. Even though I had no much strength, I was pushing myself very hard to do it, so because I was already tired of fighting. But then that was the time I realized the real root of this cause. And then I also did a very deep spiritual work with a guru that I feel blessed to have met, actually, and I will be forever grateful for everything he has done for me. Along with the other things, because again, doing spiritual work is not only doing spiritual work, you have to do your part as well. Don't wait that thing is going to fall from the sky. It never does. So, and this one was really tough. I lost all my hair again, once again, you know, and I could not eat anything at all. I was vomiting blood the whole time. So I just said, okay, but I will not give up. I know I am here for a reason, you know, and if God is allowing me to be here, it's because he has a very big purpose in my life. So it was like very tough 9 months going back and forth to India. But after 9 months, I was not diagnosed anymore. I was healed. Yes, and the most important part, I think, is to continue improving myself and keep up by doing the basics, you know, things on a daily basis, actually, you know. So
yeah, that's so inspiring. And I think just the whole don't give up, and then even when you've achieved, it's still carry on. Because I think a lot of people and I speak to, and they're like, oh, I'm doing all of the work and I'm doing like, it's not, you don't just wake up one day and you're like, oh, everything's great. You know, yes, you might have healed some stuff, but it's always uncovering more and more and more. And it's just seeing the journey for what it is. Sometimes there isn't an end destination, or the end destination is otherworldly. So just hearing it from somebody who diagnosed with cancer twice in, is that 4 years, 2016 and 21,
yeah.
5 years, yeah. And then obviously depression, and you didn't just the second time go, oh, I've already done this once. So, you know, I've tried and it's come back. Obviously it's a different area. You didn't give up, you went again. And then now you're healthy, you're here, but it's not a case of, oh, that happened to me and I'm leaving that there and I'm just gonna, carry on my life as if it never happened. There's still the work to do. There's still your daily, still looking after your mind, your body, and your soul. And I think that, again, is a really good a role model, I guess, for anything in other people's lives, that to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And there's no end destination. It just feels easier, or it just gets better, or you learn more about yourself. Well, I just had a question on the tip of my tongue then and I lost it. Oh yes. So you say you have your daily, let's call them, I call them rituals. I'm sure you probably do as well.
Rituals, yes, I call
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So what are your daily go-tos that you make sure that you do every day just to keep you at a level where you're happy and you're flowing through life? What do you do?
Yes, I actually have a quite long morning ritual. I usually say mornings is for me. I think mornings for me. And with all these situations that I have been through, I realized that when you get sick, when you get physically sick, it's because your energetic body, it's already sick, okay? So, like, if you have an energetic issue, you should treat, with energetic purpose, with energetic thing. So I started my day doing 30 minutes advanced pranayama. Okay. Sometimes we underestimate the power of a simple breathing with is everything, okay? And the funniest thing is we don't pay attention how important it is. Let's say if we go out for a long time, we bring with us a little food and water, but in fact, we should bring a little gallon of oxygen, because if you run out of, bread for 5 minutes, you are dead, okay? So breathing, it's most important than water and food, literally, and we forget about it. And it is a way of oxygenating all your cells and of recharging and changing your air, your energy inside of you daily, because even though we clean up ourselves, we are polluted again. So that's the way it happens, So pranayama 30 minutes every day is something that I do. I also do a tongue scrape at copper tongue scraper, which is fantastic in order to eliminate all the toxins that was created during the night. I find it a very good approach for the digestive system. Actually, I have always had issues when it comes to food. I suffered also from many food intolerances. Today, it's much better, but it always felt like the minimal requirement in life, which is food, I could not have it. So I make sure I really look after this part of my body, the digestive system, and also which is your second brain, when your digestive system works good, like everything else flows, So that's another thing that I do. I also do yoga, and I focus on the yoga asanas for balancing each chakra. Okay. So yoga is a very intelligent tool, that works our body complete. So I know that my first root chakra, Muladhara chakra and Swadhisthana chakra, the second one is the one that is the most blocked. So I make sure I focus on asanas for those specific kind of energy source, So that's one thing that I do. Then I make sure I have cold shower every day in order to wake up my cells. You know, that's is something that I do. And then I apply some of my essential oils. You know how powerful they are. I really live like wellness lifestyle, you know, and I enjoy doing all this. I don't feel that it's a need, you know. Yes, it is, but I love doing that. I enjoy doing that. Then I have my breakfast, and I make sure I always apply some Ayurveda touch to my food. Um, so I make sure I follow Ayurveda nutrition, which is very important. And sometimes I go to the gym, so I alternate. The day I do yoga, then I don't do gym and things like that. If I'm back home, I also do Pilates. Then nighttime also we have our ritual of essential oils, of disconnecting from old devices and things like that.
Yeah, I think your morning sounds very similar to mine, and I agree that it's not a chore. It's not like, oh gosh, I've got to go upstairs now and do my breath work. I get up, I have to feed the dogs first. That's my first feed the dogs, and then I go back upstairs and I do same tongue scraping, my oils, meditation, breath work. And on the days when I don't get to do that, so if there's some kind of rush or my morning's off, or at the weekend, sometimes we sleep in a little bit later, so then I have to, and I really feel it for the rest of the day. And I have to come home, and even if it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I have to do my morning ritual because my body, I enjoy it, first of all. I feel thrown if I don't do it. I feel like my mind can't focus as much, and I haven't prepared myself for the day. And just like you've said, the importance of breath work for anyone who, and we call it breath work. And even that, sometimes when I'm teaching yoga and if I'm like, oh, we're going to do some breath work now. And even just the work part, I always think, what else can we call this in English? Because it's not work. It's something else. It's enjoyable. You know, it's breathing. It should, you know, we do this anyway. It's just becoming more aware of how we're breathing and how it's making us feel. And I know when I teach a yoga class and we'll do just 3 or 4 deep cleansing breaths using the diaphragm, breathing through the nose. And straight away after breath 2, I can just see that everyone's they just relax, and they come in and they're all tense from the day. And especially if it's an evening class, they've all been to work and they're rushing in, and they sit down and they're like, oh, I must be relaxed. And after 2 or 3 breaths, the whole room just goes, and then they're with me. They're in the yoga room with me. And that's how I feel in the morning. I can wake up, I'm running around, I'm like, what have I got to do? And then I breathe, come to my breath, use my diaphragm, because we don't do that enough either. And I just calm. And like you've said, it's something we need to do to stay alive, but we're not conscious of it. You know, we carry around water everywhere. You know, we make sure that we can go and eat. But how many of us go, right, I just need to sit and breathe and give myself this time? Because we don't. And I think we're missing a trick there.
We do, and it's so important that you touched that topic, because I also feel like the breath work, it's not only in a physic way, it works like so much on a spiritual way, and even when it comes actually to manifestation, you know, it's unbelievable. Like when your energy is connected with the universal energy, things that you think, that you want, that you thought you'd never have, it comes to you like a surprise, you know. And sometimes I get scared myself, you know. I say, whoa, But and also I think you feel that you start kind of reading people. When you see people, you feel the energy. It's so magical. I think it's amazing, beautiful work.
It is. And I always say to people as well that, when we go to the doctors, if we're sick, and if they just told us to, right, when you wake up in the morning, do these things. It doesn't have to be hours. It could be 5 minutes breath work, sit for 5 minutes and meditate. Before you have coffee, drink some water. These small little nuances that the doctors could prescribe, and they're free. Other than, we have to pay for water, but it's there, it's within us. And I think a lot of people who are on a lot of medication wouldn't need what they have if they just did these things regularly, if they tuned into their breath. Because, like you've just said, the breath then connects you with your nervous system, which then makes you calm, which then brings your cortisol levels down, your hormone levels down. Already then we're stopping lots of illnesses and diseases because our body is connected. And then we have the spiritual benefits and connecting to whoever it is that you want to connect to, your manifestation benefits, the physical benefits. And I'm sure you know about breathing through your nose, that even it's better for your face shape. There's studies on mouth breathers and nose breathers, and mouth breathers are at higher risk of heart attack, and they have, is it an overbite where their mouth is, because they're breathing through their mouth, and just these little things that we can just wake up in the morning, breathe through the nose. It's so small, but so beneficial.
It is. It's. I think everyone should do. I mean, like usually my followers ask me, but you do so much every day. Do I have to do all that? I said, no, you can start with something small. I do it because this is my lifestyle. That's what I love doing. This is my daily feel. That's what brings the glow. That's what, makes your heart beating like, in a good way. So I usually say, start with a little bit every day, because we can understand also that to break patterns, it's not a very easy thing, okay?
Yeah.
But you have to start from somewhere, because if you pretend everything is okay and you live for tomorrow, and you don't do anything about, when you see things become a snowball, then it's hard, But if you start a little bit every day, you will get there.
Small steps every day. I would even, my first one, when people ask me about meditation, and they just think you have to sit and right, when you open your eyes, when your alarm goes off, set your alarm. I know I'm okay waking up straight away, but if you know that you fall back asleep, give yourself 5 minutes. The 5 minutes between the alarms, just close down your eyes. If you fall back asleep for a few seconds, that's okay. But that could be your meditation, and you haven't even had to get out of bed. Just making that conscious, okay, turn off the alarm. I know it's going to go off in a minute for 5 minutes. Close your eyes and just breathe. If you fall asleep, it's okay. Your alarm's going to go off again. And then you get up and start your day. But that is a mini meditation. It's giving your body that time to just get back in bed and lie down for 5 minutes and breathe. And even people are like, does that work? It's better than absolutely nothing. And then you move up, and then maybe in a month's time, 2 months' time, you can get up out of bed and sit on the floor and do that, or lie on the floor and do that, and then you can, I don't know, do what we do, lighting incense and the oils and your Palo Santo and saging and doing all of the things. Okay, thank you so much for that. One last question. I always like to just ask one last question. If you had a magic wand and you could wave your wand on the listeners and you just magic, what would you like to leave with them? So your magic wand, just one wish for all of them, all of the listeners. What would it be?
Good question. I would wish that people somehow would become more aware, would have more awarenesses, so that they could deal with the odds in life, because living it's not a very simple thing, a simple task. So they could live with all these odds without going through so much pain, you know. So I would wish that people would get more awarenesses, you know, and to wake up and to be on a present moment, you know, and to feel their senses, and to feel like how special and how powerful they are, you know. So that would be my wish.
I love that. Yeah, and that would be an amazing wish. So let's wave that magic one. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've loved our conversation. And yeah, and I know that my listeners will also be blown away with your story, because it is a real story of not giving up, letting go of what no longer serves you, and carrying on, but with positivity and an energy that radiates onto other people. So thank you so much. And yes, I will speak to you soon. Thank you everyone for listening. I will drop Sheyla's details in the show notes. So if you want to find her on Instagram and reach out to her, everything that she's got, I will put in the show notes, so everything will be there. And yes, I will see everybody next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.